Hi, this is Musa. The 2015 World Chess Cup features Peter Svidler fighting against Sergey Karjakin, and this is a 4 classical game format instead of 2 like the previous stages. However, this will allow hopefully some creative play and some new ideas. This is the first game out of 4, and Peter Svidler starting with the white pieces, opened with a King's Indian attack. We have seen this played multiple times in the previous stages, especially between Karjakin and Ilyanov. White now is preparing e4 and knight c6 from black. Rook e1 and b5, this is the main deviation. b6 is the move here, the normal move, and after e5, knight d7, maybe white can play knight f1. This is the main line, and maybe now b5, white can go h4, a5, and each side will try his own attack on a different side. White will focus on the king side while black will expand on the queen side, and the game will be decided if white is faster or black is faster. However, after rook e1, which is the game here, Karjakin speeded up with b5. We will see if white wastes precious time to counter-attack the b5 move or not. Svidler now takes on d5, now knight takes. We saw previously e takes d5, and we have a4 or even d4. Let's see something like d4. Then black pretty much have queen b6, c4, or even bishop to g4 in this position. Let's try queen b6, and now pawn takes pawn is not possible for the moment. Maybe white should play c3 and the game is equal. However, after e takes d5 from Svidler, Karjakin took with the knight, and that opens a whole new page for the game. Now knight to e4, maybe not the best move, not the best continuation, could have been c4. However, white will suffer from an isolated queen's pawn. Knight e4 doesn't have that, and now bishop to b7. White having many choices here. Among them is b3 or immediate c4 or even a4, bishop d2. He chose c3. Now black can prevent white's bishop from going to g5, trying to exchange the important dark squared bishop for black, and black doing that is by h6 or even a5 immediately. Queen b6 is also a good move, or queen to e7, or even rook to c8, as you can see pointed out on the board. Now Karjakin chose to defend his b5 pawn, who's not gonna stay there for long, and now a4. Many ideas for black, maybe some of them are old ideas like h6 or even queen to b6. However, Karjakin played b4, which is fine by the computer. Computer likes it. However, taking on a4 just brings white to the game. For example, rook to b8, now bishop g5, and white has spreaded his pieces all over the board and he has more coordination. So b4 was played, and now bishop to g5. Of course, knight on e4 attacks the c5 pawn. If bishops are exchanged, black will suffer on the dark squares. So f6 attacks the bishop, and now bishop goes back to d2. And instead of getting the queen out in the game, black here played e5. White maybe thought about blocking the a5 square, of course, forbidding the knight from coming here, and the pawn to support the b4 pawn. But he chose rook to c1 for now, and rook to f7. The rook will be ahead of the queen in order to penetrate the d file, but white is so quick in this, and he plays d4. And the idea behind this is to complicate the move series for black, which move order, which to take first, the c3. If taking on d4 is better, then which is better, e takes d5 or e takes d4 or c takes d4. However, Karjakin took first on c3, and there is a mistake, inaccuracy. Maybe c takes d4 is better. Then c takes d4, e takes d4. As you can see, white can have some activities, but it can be stopped. For example, queen to b3 is faced with knight to a5, queen d3 attacks the d4 pawn. However, black can play now knight c3. The knight cannot be taken. Maybe white should take the pawn on d4, because if b takes the knight, then d takes b, and d takes c3, and now the only move maybe, queens are exchanged, and now the knight is attacked. The bishop is attacked by the pawn and the rook. So if bishop to f4, bishop eliminates the knight, rook takes, and now b3, and this is the only move to keep the advantage for black. The king is a little bit exposed for white, and if rook now takes, which is a mistake, then maybe b2 is the only move, threatening to queen the pawn. So rook goes to e1, and bishop to b4. Of course, the skewer is threatening to take one of the rooks, so rook c2 to stop the pawn from queening. If bishop takes the rook, then rook takes b2, and black can even play g5 to attack the bishop first, or play bishop to c3, and black is up the exchange. However, let's go back to the game. This is the game, d4. Now b takes c3 was inaccuracy. B takes c3, of course, taking with the pawn to defend the d4. Now c takes d4, c takes d4, and now knight takes. This is winning a pawn. Knight takes, e takes, and queen to b3. And this is the main advantage for Peter Svidler here. His pieces are well organized for just one pawn, and the d-file pawn is easy to collect. The rook on e1 attacks the bishop, the rook on f7 is pinned, the bishop on g2 is a great piece. Now the bishop on b7 is attacked. What to do now? Karjakin played rook to b8, which is probably the only move. And now white can play knight to c5 immediately, or rook to b1 to put extra pressure on the bishop. Let's see, knight to c5, then maybe bishop to a8. This is attacking the queen on b3, but knight e6 now attacks the queen too. Rook takes, knight takes, and bishop takes d8. Rook to c8, rook to f8, rook takes a8, and knight to c3, defending the d5 square. Maybe now bishop to f1, another skewer, and rook to b4. White is better. However, after queen to b3, rook to b8, Svidler chose rook to b1, which is good, and now queen to d7, getting the queen to the 7th rank, trying to defend more pieces and reorganize the pieces, have some counter activity. Now just let's see another empty move to see what are the threats for white and how the game could have continued for the advantage of whites. Let's say a5, knight c5, bishop takes, and now bishop takes d5, a skewer. Bishop must take, queen takes rook, rook to f8, queen takes queen, rook takes queen, and bishop takes a5, rook d7, rook was attacked, bishop b4, bishops are exchanged, bishop f3, rook b2, d3 now trying to queen the pawn, rook d2 stops it, bishop c6, rook a1, rook a7, a5, and if bishop to b5, white can play f4 after king to f7. White is much better. The pawn will be stopped. A rook versus a bishop is always winning, and white will win this game easily. However, now queen d7 was played, and this is the game. Rook e c1, and maybe black should have opened a square for the flight square for the king. Now queen to e6, a mistake. Instead g6 or h6 would have been better, but expecting knight c5 anyways. Karjakin forgot that either bishop to a5 controlling the d8 square or even knight c5 works, because after the bishop takes and rook takes, white is superior. Too much pressure versus poor coordination for black. Now rook to d8, bishop to a5. Let's see, instead of bishop to a5, let's see queen to c4. Now white is ready to take, so if h6, then rook takes on b7, and now bishop takes d5, rook must take. Now white should take with the rook, and if rook to e7, of course, is threatening check, discover check, attack on the queen, exchanging queens. So if rook to e7, then queen takes d4, and white is a bishop up. However, after rook to d8, bishop a5 is also good. Now rook to d6, rook was attacked, and now queen to c4. Indeed, we see the same threats. Knight to c3, trying to have some counter activities. White, among all choices, chose rook takes b7, which is the best move. Now it's lost for Karjakin with black pieces. Everything is falling. However, there is one more trick to try and see if white falls a victim of it, and that is queen to e1. The idea behind this is that if Svidler think that queen f1 is a good move, then knight e2 check, king h1, queens are exchanged, but after bishop takes f1, attacking the knight, the rook is free. Bishop takes e2, and maybe d3 now. Bishop goes to f3, rook b1, king g2, that was a check, d2 now, check, a few checks, the rook takes on g7, queening, bishop is gone, and at this stage there is a rook versus a bishop, and black, if not equalizing, he should be better. So queen e1, if met with queen f1, then the game is the advantage is lost for Svidler, but bishop f1 saves everything. Now if knight goes to e2, then he can take with the queen. So at this stage, after knight to e2 and queen takes e2, Karjakin resigned, knowing that there is absolutely no exit from this loss. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.